Welcome to our latest edition of Huckins on Film. I'm Kyle Huckins, and we're trying once again to talk about the Snowtown Murders. I've already shot 2 different reviews of this, and for various reasons, just hasn't worked out. So we're going to try this again. If the machines cooperate, so much the better. Last night I watched the Snowtown Murders. I actually shot a review shortly after watching it. But this is a movie you really need to sit back and digest it. It's one of the harshest things I've seen probably since I saw Martyrs. It's a very bleak, very nihilistic film. I'd compare it to, I'd say it's almost kind of like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, if it was set in the place that the movie Gummo was set. You would get the Snowtown Murders. You would also get a much better film. Because while they share a setting, Gummo was a piece of crap. It's one of the most dreadful things I've ever watched. And not even dreadful in an interesting way, just ugh. The Snowtown Murders, however, is not boring. It's a slow-paced movie, it's very deliberate, it takes its time, but it keeps you very interested. Main character, kid named Jamie, he's got 2 kid brothers. His older half-brother Troy just moved back into the house. They all live with their single mom. And the movie starts with him and the 2 younger brothers over at the neighbor's house playing video games. And this is the pre-credit sequence, by the way. It ends with the neighbor taking pictures and blessing them. It's all heavily implied. They don't actually show any of it, but yeah, when you have child molestation before the credits roll, you know you're in for something very unpleasant and very visceral. It gets even worse. Jamie is played by Lucas Pitaway. I'm sorry, I'm shit at remembering names. He does a great job, because this kid is he has just been smacked around by everything. I mean, the area of Snowtown, it's out in the middle of nowhere, Australia. It's very poor, very downtrodden. You know, it's definitely an area where, like, jobs are kind of hard to come by. It's looks like a very bad place. And when you've got mass poverty and unemployment in an area, it tends to get not so nice. Nice. Very similar to the setting from Gummo, just not nearly as annoying. Jamie, like everyone in this area, has just been beaten down by life. And Jamie's no different. He's been beaten down by life. He's also pretty much been beaten down by almost everyone who's been beaten down by life. He's just whatever spine or force of personality this kid ever had, it's gone. It's dead, and it's not coming back. I'm not sure I've ever seen anyone on screen who was just this defeated. Kid's not even 18 yet, and just he's just been crushed by life. You know, part of it was because, yes, he got molested by the neighbors. Also, his half-brother Troy, there's a scene where Troy rapes him. Yeah, it's... And the way that scene is shot, it's not overly explicit. Again, everything's basically more or less implied, but it shows just enough and implies the rest. The director does this with a lot of scenes, actually. It works really well. I'm not sure if it was a conscious decision or they just didn't have the budget or technical know-how to pull off the violence. But most of the actual violence, you don't really see it happen. It gives you enough to go on, and then you kind of see the aftermath. But as to how exactly it got there, you generally tend to use your imagination. Which not only creates a different viewing experience for everyone who's watched it, but you're going to come up with what shocks you the most. He can't crawl inside the head of everyone in his audience to do this. Only you can do that to yourself. And he just kind of leads the horse to water. But you drink. Goddamn, do you drink. I needed a goddamn drink after this movie. I'm not saying the bottle was full before I watched it, but yeah, it was... It was pretty harsh. Honestly, just thinking about it now, fuck it, I need one. Anyway, it all changes for Jamie when a character named John Bunting comes into his mother's life. She's finally found someone, they're dating, and he's a very outgoing, very easy smile, very friendly guy who houses the darkest of dark sides. It's not McAllen's, but it'll do. And at first, he wins them over. He helps the kids harass the neighbor who molested them. And they harass him in such a fashion that you actually feel kind of bad for a pedophile. Yeah, that's... I know what you're thinking. I can't believe I'm saying it, but pedophile eventually moves away because, like, the sort of harassment he endures. I mean, I don't know why they didn't just... Well, no, they did try calling the police, but it didn't work. And while you're glad he's been driven away from the family for the kids' sake, the stuff he has to endure getting there is, it's really just... wow. You know, I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to spoil this movie because I totally want you to watch this. But Jamie and John start to bond. By the way, John is played by an actor named Daniel Henshaw, who I need to see more often because he's amazing in this. His performance actually very reminiscent of Michael Rooker in Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Yeah, he's that damn good. So remember how Henry was... He was a nice, friendly guy. He was fun to be around. Unless... yeah, he's the same way. In fact, he's even more terrible than Henry was, because he has this ability to just, he knows who he's dealing with, and once he knows he can dominate you, he does, and he does it without conscience. He's clearly a sociopath of the highest order. And also, now, one of the problems this movie has is it doesn't, I mean, it's a long movie at 2 hours. I like it. It's very, but it doesn't get enough into the backstory, especially for something that is based on a true story. You know, when you're dealing with a serial killer, you really have to dig into their history. I mean, honestly, this is a movie that, I don't know if I'd say before or after you watch it, but, yeah, at least check the Wikipedia entry for a basic idea of what happens, because this movie does get a little jumbled at times. It's not always good with giving out names. But one of the things you do find out is that John, yeah, Nazi. Yeah, he used to run with a bunch of Nazi skinheads when he was a teen. And there's really nothing to indicate that he ever stopped being a Nazi. Especially his attitudes towards gay people. Oh boy. He is just, yeah, he's vengeful towards gay people. You know, he thinks they're all child molesters. He's just, every last awful right-wing stereotype of gay hatred you can think of just comes out of him, and it comes out effortlessly. And you realize he's really starting to take control of Jesse and this is another very unsettling aspect of this movie, is the implied animal cruelty. So at one point, he orders Jamie, I think I just called him Jesse, sorry about that. He orders Jamie to shoot a dog. And you don't see the dog get shot or anything. But he does it. And that's when he kind of realizes he's got Jamie where he wants him. And he doesn't have to let go. And he's not going to, because he is a sociopath's sociopath. But just the quiet intensity that Henshaw brings, he's mostly, I mean, he's always very intense, but he doesn't raise his voice a whole lot, which makes it that much more effective when he does, because, oh Jesus, he can really bring it. But he gives a very intense performance. He's unnerving as hell. Like I said, just like Rooker. Oh, God. It's not even the alcohol talking, just this very hard movie to talk about. Especially since you kind of just want to forget it. You know, it's definitely one of those movies that I enjoyed it. I think it's great. It's very well done. Dear Lord, I don't know if you could pay me to ever watch it again. It's kind of like Downfall, Martyrs, or Pan's Labyrinth, where, wow, that was amazing. I'm going to drink until I forget I saw that. Yeah, one of those. But overall, it's just... Also, the ending, a little. It's kind of abrupt, and then afterwards you just get title cards telling you the aftermath after what happened. I wasn't crazy about that. I mean, I could see why they did it. It wasn't enough to ruin the movie for me by any stretch, but I did think that was a little weak. Although in a way, that ending, it kind of kept the whole. It was somewhat more in tone, fitting in with the tone of the movie. In that it wasn't. There was nothing happy about it. You know, there was nothing uplifting. There was no ray of hope or anything. It was just, oh, that's over. That was beautiful. I'm gonna cry, drink, and kill myself now. Okay, I only drank, but I strongly considered the other two. Oof. But all in all, I would say watch it just for Henshaw's performance. Him and Jamie are really the two most focused upon characters. Oddly enough, Jamie's most heroic moment in the movie, like, this is going to sound really weird, but at one point, someone is being tortured to death. I'm not going to tell you who, because that could spoil things. Because Bunting liked to get all your personal information so he could get at your credit cards, bank accounts, whatever, after you died. Yeah, he wasn't content to kill you, he had to steal everything from your corpse. First-class human being. And he'd gotten all the information from this person. But him and his friend were just slowly killing him anyway because they're sadists. And Jamie stepped in and he killed the person, but I mean, it was actually more or less an act of mercy. I mean, the best thing he could have done, obviously, was call the cops the second he knew, oh my god, this guy is insane. But he's so used to just being a victim that fighting back is just not in his DNA. And, you know, standing up for himself is just, he is not wired like that. It is a sad, it's a tragic film. It's also a very beautifully shot movie. And the best part is, I don't know if they shot it digitally and had it converted to look like film, or if they actually shot it on film. But it's kind of grainy, which really fits with the grittiness and just utter sleaze that is the Snowtown Murders. I really appreciated that attention to detail. Also, there's a lot of great shots of just the Australian landscapes. There are a few parts that take place out in the middle of nowhere. And they're fantastically shot. It's a very well-directed movie. And the performances from Pittaway and Henshaw really make this worth seeing. Like I said, if you're squeamish, don't. Do not see this if you're squeamish. If you're someone like me who really appreciates films like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, I Spit on Your Grave, stuff like that, you can handle this movie. Like I said, everything that happens around, so dark and gritty that it does end up being really depressing. But overall, I recommend this movie highly. I kind of want to get the DVD for the director's commentary and the extras. On the other hand, that means I would have to watch it again, and I seriously don't know if I can. This was just that vicious. Like, my soul still feels... I still kind of feel like I lost something while watching that, and I'm not sure if I'll get it back. It was that remorselessly dark and nihilistic. But it was absolutely beautifully done. Okay, yeah, that's really all I have to say. Is this is Kyle Huckins for Huckins on Film, fucking off.